In this Blox Fruit video, I'm going to be ranking every Devil Fruit Awakening from worst to best. Now, this is going to be in general. It's not going to be targeted towards PvP or PvE. It's just going to be a general tier list. By the way, guys, when I hit 300,000 subscribers, I am going to be doing the one chip challenge. So I will be doing the one chip challenge at 300k subs. I just wanted to, let you guys know that I did the, the super spicy pepper challenge at 200k. At 300k, we're going to be getting a little bit hotter with the one chip challenge. So make sure to like button, subscribe, guys. Now, coming to 12th place as the first fruit on this list is going to be the flame fruit. Now, the flame fruit, honestly, is a very aim-based fruit. I'm sure if you have really good aim, the flame fruit will actually be insanely good for you. But a lot of the abilities can be hard to hit on people that are just, they can be hard to hit on people in general just because, people in Blox Fruits, they zoom around, they teleport around, and it's just a very, accuracy-dependent fruit in general, especially with, like, explosive fireflies and things like that. It's just a very, aim-dependent fruit in general. And also, the damage amount that it actually does is not really going to be that high unless you land all of the, aim-based abilities. Like, a lot of the huge AoE abilities, even though while they do lots of damage, in general, most of your damage output is going to be coming from the abilities that are mainly aim-based. So, I do think this is a very skill-dependent fruit in general, and I do think, the fact it's so skill-dependent does mean it should be ranked lower, because, honestly, I'm not really that great at Blox Fruits yet when it comes to PvP, and when it comes to Flame Fruit, it is just very hard to hit some of these abilities in PvP. If you guys like, what do you guys think about the Flame Fruit? Do you guys think it actually is an insanely easy to use fruit in general? I think that while it can be good for NPCs, like, it can be a good grinding fruit, because obviously the NPCs aren't going to be, trying to escape across the entire map against you, that it can be good for grinding, but for PvP content, I do think it can be hard to use sometimes. Now, coming in 11th place is going to be the string fruit. Now, the string fruit is majorly a PvP based fruit, just because, the abilities are just mostly single target damage, kind of based upon, like, it's just kind of like based upon getting, quick stun attacks in, just quick abilities in general. Now, while I do think the string fruit is a pretty good PvP fruit based on what I've seen from people, I definitely think that, for grinding, it definitely leaves a lot to be desired. I definitely think it's probably one of the, it probably is the single worst grinding fruit on this awakening right here. So it is the worst awakening fruit. I do know you can hold down these abilities, by the way, as you guys can see. So it is one of the worst awakening fruits, but I definitely think that if you can get a good stun from, like, if you can just get good stuns in general, you could actually spam these abilities and you will do lots of damage to them. Like, you guys can see, if you hold down the ability, it does do lots of damage, as you guys can see. Like, yeah, as you guys can clearly see, once you hold it, if you hold it down, it just does absolute tons of damage to people. But for actual grinding, I definitely think, it, like I said before, it leaves a lot to be desired in general. Now, coming to 10th place is going to be the Quake Fruit Awakening. Now, the Quake Fruit is a very good PvP fruit due to the, it has a lot of, stun potential, has a lot of just combo potential in general. I definitely think the Quake Fruit is, I know I said the String Fruit was the worst PvE fruit, but the Quake, I completely forgot how bad this fruit is for, grinding. A lot of these abilities, you can tell these abilities are actually just PvP centric. Just look at the abilities. They have very small AoE sizes. The abilities in general are just, they are clearly meant for PvP. I mean, like, you get a quick, you can, like, Z-spec into the, X-spec and stuff like that. It's just a very PvP centric fruit. I definitely think the lack of, grinding potential definitely makes this fruit a lot worse than it would be otherwise. Now, coming in 9th place is going to be the Sand Fruit. Now, the Sand Fruit's actually one of my personal favorite fruits currently in Blox Fruit. I am pretty new to Blox Fruit, but I do think the Sand Fruit is very fun to use. It's one of the easiest to combo with fruits. I definitely think this is definitely a very PvP centric fruit. Like, the abilities of this fruit they're very PvP oriented due to a lot of the abilities just being stun based. Like, all you really need to do is hit someone with a sand coffin and then just spam all the other abilities on them, and it will do tons of damage to them. Now, obviously, you have things like Electro Blade, like, it'll actually do much more damage and stuff like that. Like, if you have a weapon, you can just spam it into the sand coffin. Pretty much, sand is enabled off of a single stun, which is actually the sand coffin. It also has a flight ability, which is pretty good in general. Like, having a flight ability definitely makes the fruit better in general. But yeah, this sand coffin ability, pretty much you use sand coffin, and then you just spam the rest of the abilities on them, because, you know, Sand Coffin is a stun. It's like a place lock stun. It's kind of like a Shindo like place lock stun. So I actually really like Sand, because it's just very, very easy to combo with in general, and it's just a very, very, you know, easy PvP fruit to use. All right, so coming in 8th place is going to be the Dark Fruit. Now, the Dark Fruit is another one of the actual PvP based fruit. There's actually a lot of there is a ton of PvP based fruits, but I do think first of all, the C move is actually pretty good for grinding. Now, it actually does have a teleporting move, which is Ghastly Step. Like, I don't really know who's going to be using this to travel across the entire map. It's mostly just used for an instant slash ability. But I do think the Dark Fruit, like, especially with the V ability right here, it can be pretty good for grinding, just because it is a pretty massive damage burst. And like, I mean, like, when it comes to the Dark Fruit, it's just a very, very quick fruit to use in general. I mean, like, compared to a lot of the other fruits, I actually think it's very comparable to the String Fruit and how fast it actually is. Like, there's a lot of teleporting abilities. There's a lot of, you know, very, very fast abilities in general. The more you hold it down, the more it actually does. And then it actually does have a sucking ability, which you can combo very, very, very easily with the C ability. And then, you know, obviously the V ability is there as well. So you go boom, just slam it into them, and it does do a lot of damage. Coming in 7th place is going to be the Light Fruit Awakening. Now, the Light Fruit Awakening, as you guys can see, it does do tons of damage to people. Like, yeah, you kind of just hold down the abilities. Yeah, look, I just did literally 12,000 damage. Now, the Awakening of the Light Fruit is pretty good, but I definitely think the Light Fruit Unawakened is just kind of better in general. Not because it literally is better, but just because, you know, usually it's the Light Fruit is just better as a noob to use than it is to use as an Awakened fruit, because there's just a lot better. But I definitely think it's a very, very noob friendly fruit in general. I definitely think, you know, it has a lot of potential as a fruit, especially for PvE and PvP content. I'm sure there are some absolutely amazing Light Fruit combos out there. So very, very solid 7th place on this list. The coming to 6th place is going to be my current favorite fruit in the actual Blox Fruit. It's going to be the Ice Fruit. Now, the Ice Fruit honestly just has really, really easy to hit stun moves, just absolutely massive damage amounts. Look at that. I just did 15,000 damage with a single ability. Like, the Ice Fruit is just a really, really good fruit in general. I definitely think halfway through the list is a very good spot for it, because it's just like, I do feel like while it has really, really good stuns, it has a lot of close range potential. I do think the range potential of this fruit is, it leaves a lot to be desired in general, just because, you know, the range on it is, you know, quite small compared to some of the other, you know, absolutely massive fruits. But pretty much when it comes to the Ice Fruit, all you need to do is land a stun and spam all the abilities on them, and they will pretty much instantly die from all of them. Like, look, I'll Glacial Surge onto this dude, and you can see that did 3,000. And then if you manage to land the C-Spec, you have to land it perfectly on them. It will do like 10,000 damage in general. It's just really, really, really high DPS fruit if you actually know what you're doing. And it is, you know, while it is mainly a, you know, PvP fruit, just because, you know, a lot of the abilities are just PvP based due to like all the stuns and stuff like that, I definitely think that, you know, you can definitely make this into a grinding fruit as well. It's just the fact it's so close range can be quite, you know, devastating to your grinding potential. But, you know, it is what it is when it comes to fruits in this game. You gotta take what you can get. Look, this dude just came up and started PvP me. I am in a public server, by the way. So this dude just came up and started PvP me. This is exactly what I mean, dude. Like, this guy... I just got hit by the dark fruit. Like, guys, I'm not that great at PvP in this game, and this guy is, like, running away. This guy is just hardcore running away from me. Like, he's, like, camping over the sea and stuff like that. Because I'm not serious. I'm being dead serious when I say this. I literally almost just one-shot this guy. Like, dead serious, I almost just one-shot this guy. Man, this guy's really gonna step into my video. 10,000 bounty lost. Yeah, but like, I'm being dead serious. Like, the guy started to come up and attack me. I was in the cave doing the training dummy, and I literally just... He got down to like 10% HP and ran across the map and then ran back while I was yet again fighting the training dummy. I guess it's just how people operate in this game. They just try to come and hit you while you're like grinding or whatever. But yeah, just a good showing of the Ice Fruit. Just does tons of damage. Oh, he's a hacker. That's cool. Now, coming to 5th place is going to be the Phoenix Fruit. Now, this fruit, honestly, it just has really amazing potential overall. It has super high damage potential. I mean, like, the flight moves, it has probably the best flight moves out of any of the, you know, the fruits in the game. Since it has, you know, it has a lot of, it just basically, it's a very, very mobile fruit in general. I definitely think the Awakening of Phoenix, it makes it significantly more fun to use in general as well. Because you could turn into an entire, like, you turn into the literal entire Phoenix, and your attacks just become, like, you just do lots of damage in general. The burn damage of Phoenix is also really, really high as well. I definitely think Phoenix deserves a solid 5th place on this list just because the mobility on Phoenix is absolutely insane, and in PvP mobility is very, very important. And in grinding, mobility is actually super important as well. So I definitely think it is probably the most mobile fruit in the game, as well, with having decent damage and decent combo potential in general. The coming in 4th place is going to be the Rumble Fruit. Now, the Rumble Fruit, the Awakening, you get 3 charges of Electric Flash, as you guys can see, and it's very, very fast. So it's pretty much just, you pretty much can just get around very, very nicely. But for the actual abilities of Rumble, I do think Rumble is probably one of the better fruits in the game, just for when it comes to grinding and PvP. I'm sure there's better for when it comes to like each or, which is why this is going to be 4th, and it's not going to quite break the top 3. But I definitely think Rumble Fruit, it has a lot of stunning potential, has a, you know, massive AoEs to it and things like that. I definitely think that it's just a really, really fun fruit to use as well. I mean, like, look at the giant, you know, the giant just lightning teleportation abilities going on right now. Huge stun attacks. Honestly, just very easy to use as well, which is, you know, is obviously a huge plus. And I definitely think the range on it is not, you know, the worst in the world. So, I mean, like, you could definitely do a lot worse than Rumble, and I definitely think Rumble has a lot going on for it. At the moment, at least. All right, so coming in 3rd place is going to be the Magma Awakening. Now, the Magma Awakening is probably one of the highest damage fruits right now on this list, because, like, you barely even need to use Magma's abilities, and they will just do tons of damage. Now, the main issue with Magma is a lot of its PvP combos are honestly, they're just escapable in general. Like, a lot of the highest damage abilities are very escapable. I'm sure if you're pretty good at PvP, you'll probably be able to land them on people and things like that. But when it comes to Magma, it's just a very, very high damage powerhouse bloodline. Probably the highest damage not bloodline. Sorry guys, I got my Shindo Life bloodline, by the way. But Magma is just a really, really, really good fruit currently in the game due to the absolutely insane damage output that it actually has, combined with the fact that it actually is a very, very easy fruit to combo with in general. All you need to do is land one pretty much grab attack, and then you just spam the rest of the abilities, and that's honestly how easy it is. Like, you guys can see, I'm barely using these abilities, and the damage counter is going up easily to over 20,000, and a lot of the time people only have like 12,000 HP. So it's just basically with Magma, all you need to do is basically just land one pretty decent combo, and they're just going to be instantly dead, just because Magma just does so much damage in general. It's also really, really good for PvE content as well, due to the absolutely massive damage output. Now, coming in 2nd place is going to be the Buddha Fruit. Now, the Buddha Fruit is mainly going to be here, honestly, just because of the PvE aspect of the fruit. It reduces the damage you take by a ton, plus the actual abilities of the Buddha Fruit are very, very, very AoE based abilities. I mean, like, look at this. Look at these abilities. But the main reason why the Buddha Fruit is actually going to be here should be fairly obvious. I mean, it's just pretty much just free passive regen. It makes your M1s huge. It's just very, very easy to use in general when it comes to this fruit. And I do think that, you know, the fact it being a passive means that you don't really need to even equip the fruit. You don't really need that many points into the Devil Fruit stat at all. Just because, you know, even though the Devil Fruit abilities are quite good for grinding, I do think that, you know, maybe you might be better off just trying to put stuff in the sword besides for this actual one ability right here, because you guys can see that just did 12,000 damage. But yeah, I definitely think, you know, Buddha Fruit, the passive ability is quite good, and I definitely think it deserves 2nd place just for the passive ability alone. By the way, guys, what is your favorite Devil Fruit Awakening in Blox Fruits? So comments below, we'll be checking them out. Now, coming to 1st place, as a surprise to probably absolutely nobody watching this video, is going to be the Dough Fruit. Now, the Dough Fruit just has really high damage potential. It has really, you know, it's just really, really good for PvP, really good for boss fighting and, you know, Blox Fruits. It's just a really, really good, I mean, it's just a really good fruit awakening. I mean, there's a reason why almost everyone ranks Dough #1 on almost all of their, you know, tier lists, or, you know, a lot of people say Dough is the best fruit, because it is. I mean, it's just a really, really good grinding fruit, has a decent mobility, it's really good for PvP combos, and it's insanely easy to use. Like, the actual abilities of Dough are really easy to hit people with, because, you know, I mean, like, who is gonna miss a giant spinning AoE? You just teleport under their face, spinning AoE them, and then just spam all of Dough's abilities on them, and you'll pretty much one-shot them. So, I mean, like, you know, Dough, really, really amazing PvP fruit, really good for PvE as well, just probably going to be the best fruit in Blox Fruit for a while. Anyways, guys, for this video, if you enjoyed this video, hit the subscribe, guys. Bye-bye.